Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a highly requested video, resources for new witches. If you want to watch that on today's Witch Baby Wednesday, keep on watching. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Darian from Darian Empire, and this is Witch Baby Wednesdays. Just to catch you guys up, if you're new here, if you're not new here, welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Basically, I've been a spiritual coach for about 5 years now, almost 5 years now, and I have just transferred into witchcraft, and I'm sort of sharing my own personal journey as a new witch for new witches and witchy curious folks. So today I'm going to be answering the probably most asked question, and that is books on witchcraft and resources as such. And people are always asking me, like, where do you find your stuff from? And so I'm going to be going through the books that I have read so far, and some of the really the heavy hitters as far as witch authors that are out there, that have been out there for a while, that pretty much any witch you talk to is going to probably list these few names. Coincidentally, I've never read any of their books. Actually, only one book I'm going to be sharing today is a book that I have read by one of the OGs of witchcraft, I guess, and this modern OGs. I didn't just go and purchase I didn't just go spend $1 million on witchcraft things, and I'm really just cultivating and getting things as I feel a calling to them. So I'm not oh, I need to get every single thing on witchcraft there is. So these are not necessarily, some of them are not necessarily extremely popular books, some of them are. It's definitely not like I'm saying this is the way you should read, this is the order you should read them, or you have to get this book. This is just what I've read, and I'm definitely going to give you more of the resources like the OGs of witchcraft at the end here. But I'm going to be sharing some of the books that I have read and the books that I would recommend, and just to kind of go into what they are about and where I get all my resources from. So let's get into it. The very first book that I read that really hooked me as it pertains to witchcraft was Witch by Lisa Lister. Such a cute book. I love her so much. I love her energy. I actually listened to the book on Audible because I just happened to have a whole bunch of credits on Audible, so I bought 3 witchcraft books, and hers was one of them. Now, as far as Audible is concerned, I wouldn't really get witch books on Audible just because pretty much every witch or witchcraft or something within that realm type of book that you purchase, it's something that you're gonna probably need to access because there's probably spell ingredients in it and things like that. So most of them are probably going to be a book that you actually want to touch and feel. Maybe a Kindle book if you swing that way. I'm not really a fan of Kindle books, but I have tons of them, even though I'm not that big of a fan of them. That's kind of weird, but just to have a physical book to be able to read. But I will say, Lisa Lister actually read her book herself on Audible. That doesn't always happen. There's a lot of times people get other people to read their own book, and I hate when people do that. I absolutely love it when the author of the book reads the book. So because Lisa Lister is the one reading the book, you feel her passion. It comes through. And that whole book, it's particularly for female witches or people who identify with the female, because it's all about being a woman. It's all about feminism and why we need to wake the witch. And she's just so passionate about it that it really gets you on board, and I just love the book. And so I've already listened to it, I think twice. I'm probably going to listen to it again just because she makes you feel like you're in a coven with her. You know what I mean? And it's it's just this magnificent sisterhood, and she's just passionate about it. So I would recommend any female or anyone who identifies as female, even if you're not female and you're just like, yeah, I'll read about feminism, if it's something that you're on board for, I would definitely recommend that anybody read that book. Now, it's not going to go into the history of witchcraft. It's not going to go into really much theory of witchcraft or anything like that, but it is going to go into why be a witch today. And that, for me, when I first came into witchcraft, which was about, 7 or 8 months ago, I needed to know why. Why was I doing this? Why did I need to do this? And after I started to read like a couple of books, and I was feeling a little bit like some of the books that I was reading were, and I'll talk about them today, were really just like kind of monotonous and didn't make me feel excited about the craft at all. So the moment I got her book and I got to hear her talk about it, I don't know how it would be if I was reading it. I'm sure I would feel the same. I don't know. But to hear her excitement about being a witch, it really ignited that within me. So I would definitely recommend that book. This is a book that I just recently read. This is called The Master Works of Chaos Magic by Adam Blackthorne. This book, OMG. So it is a teeny tiny, it's like 100 pages, I think. It's a teeny tiny little book. It's a very quick read. I might have read this in like a day or two. And I'm not a fast reader. It's got very big print. This book is about, it gets down to the nitty gritty of what to practice when it comes to chaos magic. So I am going to be doing a video on chaos magic. I would say for my followers, the people who have been following me for years, before I ever got into witchcraft, before I started doing these videos about witchcraft or the Witch Baby Wednesdays or anything like that, when I was just teaching like Abraham Hicks stuff and law of attraction stuff and all of that, I think that if there were ever a type of magic that would entice my particular followers, it would be chaos magic. So chaos magic is the kind of magic, the reason, it's suspected that the reason they call it chaos magic is because they don't use all the rules, right? So they don't do casting necessarily, they don't cast circles, some of them do actually, that's wrong. But they don't do like the whole ritualistic thing, whereas in Wicca, which is a religion, Wicca is very sort of dogmatic. There's lots of rules that you have to do. It's just like a religion, right? You have to do things in a certain way. Whereas chaos magic is like, nope, I know that I'm the creator of the universe and I can do whatever I want. So that's essentially how this goes. It is, the thing that I love about chaos magic and just in general, just outside of this book, is that it is totally about you saying, F the rules, I am the master of my mind and I am the master of my life. And it goes further and deeper and more intensely than just what we learn about with the law of attraction, right? Like what we learn from, it is like, it's basically what Abe Hicks is teaching, but it's intensified and it's really, it's like embodying your power. Which is what I really love about it. So this book in particular gets down to the nitty gritty. Really after like the first chapter, it's like, okay, let's practice magic now. And this is how you do it. What I love about this book is that there is some little bits of ancient magic in here. It's really just talks to you. We do talk about sex magic. Sex magic is done in chaos magic, which is really cool. Sigil magic, things like that. Really cool. I think the biggest aha that I got from this book, two big ahas, is towards the beginning of the book, he says, when you practice magic, you're not trying to test the magic. Don't try to test the magic. Just like when we learn about the law of attraction and they tell you to test it, right? We're all like, does this stuff really work? Does this really work? I'm gonna try to get a parking spot. Does it really work? And it just feels like, I gotta be honest, like it feels like for the last like 10 years of my life, I've just been trying to prove to myself or prove that the law of attraction works. And yeah, maybe there's a time and a place for that. But what he says is when you're practicing magic, don't practice magic as if you're trying to get magic to prove that it works. You need to go into everything that you're practicing as if magic does work. It does work. Absolutely. That's like the law. It's like, stop questioning the law of attraction. Stop questioning that the magic is real. And the only thing you're doing when you're practicing magic is you're using the magic. You're tapping into what already exists, right? So when you go into it with that mindset, it really, I mean, that's such a small shift, but that just alters the way you approach magic and the law of attraction just completely for me. And the other thing that he said towards the end of the book is acknowledging the power that God, the almighty, omnipresent, all oneness God, has given you the authority to call on spirits, to alter the universe, to use this magic. And that just felt so powerful to me. So I think that if you just want like a real, now he does not go into the theory of chaos magic. I want to know more. I have read a little bit about the theory of chaos magic, just like on random blogs. I want to know more. I'm a theory type of a person. That's just how I am. I want to know it so that I can teach it and understand it. But I definitely would recommend this book to anybody that just wants to start to like dabble into the chaos magic. And I think that this guy, I mean, honestly, I didn't even talk about this. I'm surprised I haven't, but this guy, so it's like a group of, it's like him and a couple of his friends that like write these books. What are they called? The Gallery of Magic or something? Yeah, the Gallery of Magic. And they've written a ton of books. And it's like him and a couple of people that, I don't know if they have like a coven. It's like this little secret society. You can't like find pictures of them anywhere. And, you know, it's really funny. And I know like from what he was talking about, I know that he's probably much older than me. But as I was reading this, I was like, whatever man I manifest in my life, I want him to have this guy's personality. I just love this guy's personality. He kind of reminds me of like a male version of me where I'm like, what I'll do is I'll study something really difficult and like esoteric and out there, and I'll go, listen, it's just this. Like, all they're telling you is do this simple thing and don't do it that way and do it this way. And that's why I feel like a lot of you guys, a lot of my followers have followed me for so many years, because I've been able to simplify these really like hard to grasp concepts. And I feel like he's the same. He's like, listen, like we don't need all this crazy, like we don't need all the theory and why it works. It doesn't matter. He's like, just do it this way. And I just love his personality. Actually, I think it's really sexy. So I was trying to look up a picture of him and I couldn't find a picture of him because I was like, listen, if this guy's hot, I'm gonna find him. But doesn't matter. All I need to do is like make this and his personality and maybe put that energy of his personality into the man I want to manifest. Okay, let's get into the next book. So the next book, I actually got this book at, I don't know, like a Barnes and Noble or something, wherever I was. Yeah, Barnes and Noble. This is a great book. This is called The Goodly Spell Book. And it is by Lady Passion, High Priestess, and I cannot pronounce his name. Diove, the High Priest of Coven Oldenwild. So this is Old Spells for Modern Problems. This is a thick book. This is filled with tons of spells. Now, they are old spells. That's not a joke. This is like some old school stuff where they tell you to get some crazy stuff and, you know, bok like a chicken at midnight, standing on your head and all that kind of stuff. No, they don't tell you to do any of that stuff. But like, okay, how to prevent pregnancy. You need crimson beads. Oh, this is all beads. You just wear some beads and it prevents you from getting pregnant. Okay, listen, if there's any young people out there that are witches, don't listen to that, okay? Just don't do that. But it really dives into like the really, really ancient magic, which I love. I think is really cool. The reason I bought this book, I haven't even finished reading this book, but because it's huge, you know, it's just filled with information. This right here, I don't know if you can see this. This here is the reason that I bought this book, because as I was skimming through it, I saw guitar tab. I don't know if you can see that. Guitar tab. So what guitar tab is, it's like music notes for guitars. And I was like, music? And there's an entire chapter for music spells. So I'm a musician and I was like, I can do music spells when I got this. I haven't even gotten to that chapter yet, but I know, of course, I can do music spells. I mean, that just kind of blew my mind. I was super excited about that. But this goes into everything. I mean, this really touches on everything. And what I love about it is it does go into theory in the beginning of the book. So it really does talk, it doesn't go a lot into theory, but it does talk about why you're able to do the things that you're able to do, right? Like why the magic works, what's the theory behind it, and all that kind of stuff. One complaint, the only complaint really that I have about this book, other than that some of the spells are just absolutely ridiculous. maybe when I've been a witch for 25 years, I might do some of these spells. Now I did like the house cleaning spell to bid brownies to clean my house, brownies which are fairies. I actually have here, I'll show you. This is the plate that I offer to the brownies. It's got shiny things and all the things that it actually has. This is a little bag of wishes that I got from, my mother got from Ireland, which, you know, they have all kinds of fairy stuff there. And that worked, that spell worked. So doing ancient spells I think is really powerful. Here's my complaint about this book. They talked in one small little section about money. And it was a very old school way of thinking. It was very much probably when money was created, and it didn't exist before, because before all they did was like trading and bartering, and then all of a sudden powerful people came in and started using gold as money, and then they started taking over the world and killing witches or whatever they started doing, and witches sort of probably back in the day equated that with evil. I have to be completely honest that when this book told me that it's like bad for me to make money doing witchy things, that's my whole career. My whole effing career is me doing witchy things. It's what I've been doing for 5 years now. My entire business is built off of spirituality. To tell me that I can't make a living doing what I feel God has put me on this earth to do, that was a little crazy for me. So I put the book down for 2 weeks and I did not touch it. And I didn't even touch Witchcraft for 2 weeks. And I was just like angry. I was angry at this book. And you will read a lot of books that are conflicting about money. I think it's a video that I should do in the future. Honestly, I should probably have like a podcast, that's not a word, podcast interview or something, and get a bunch of witches together and we can all talk about how we feel about money. Because that really ticked me off. But I think this is a great book. Other than that, just skip over that part where they talk about money. I think it's a great resource to always have. It's almost like having a grimoire, and just, you know, having it there. Now, I don't really have much to compare it to because I haven't bought like a Book of Shadows or a grimoire that's actually printed. But I thought that this was really cool. Next book is... This book is so beautiful. I actually just started reading this book. I think that this is a great book for somebody just beginning into witchcraft. I think it's great for somebody that's already like an environmentalist or loves to garden or already feels really connected to nature naturally. I feel like this book is definitely going to speak your language. It does not go deep into theory. It really talks about way of life kind of stuff. But this is The Green Witch, your complete guide to the natural magic of herbs, flowers, essential oils, and more by Aaron Murphy Hiscock. Not Hitchcock, Hiscock. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But for one, I just have to give major, major, major props to the designer of this book. Because this is probably one of the most beautifully done books I've ever seen. Inside and out. I mean, it's beautiful. Like, even when they get to a new part, like look at this. It's beautiful. The book is freaking beautiful. So props to the designer of this book, OMG. I mean, I think any witch would tell you that a book that's really beautiful has magic in its own. Like when it looks like this, I don't know. There's just like, you want to put this on your... My kids are fighting right now. Meadow! What's going on? All right, well, could you turn it back on or something on for her? Okay, thank you. So this book does not go into theory. This book really tells you the Green Witch's way of life. This is more of a lifestyle book. This is more of like a witch lifestyle book. According to this book, there's not many rules for the Green Witch. It's really more about, it's just a way of life, really. And it is about harmony, you know, connecting with nature, both harm and nature being humans as well as what we think of when we think of nature, not just plants, but humans, animals, all of life. I mean, I think that this is just a good kind of like segue maybe into witchcraft and into really, I think, connecting with nature. This gives tons and tons of, you know, spells and things that you can do that are, you know, connected to herbs, and you can make teas and, you know, all sorts of things like that. It's really about lifestyle. It's really about everyday magic. It does not go into deep theory. So if you are a big thinker like me, this book is not going to cut it as far as if this is like the only book that you read. If you were like a really, really deep thinker, this is probably not the first book I would read, but if you already love nature, you already feel connected, this book you might feel more connected with, or this might be a really good segue into how to start practicing witchcraft in a way that's already what you're kind of doing, right? So if you're already connected to plants, if you're already gardening, if you already love making teas or herbs or whatever, this is probably a great book for you. It's just a gorgeous book. Another book that I actually just purchased, I'm really excited to read. I haven't read it yet. It hasn't come in. It will be in a couple days. And the author of the book, I believe this might be her first book. I could be wrong about that, but the author of the book is doing, because this is published by Hay House. Hay House does those things very often where when you purchase the book, you know, in order to become a bestseller, when you purchase the book, they offer like a course or something in order to get you to pre-order the book, and then it becomes a bestseller before it comes out. It's like it's a very smart, you know, marketing tactic. But Juliet Diaz is the author, and she also, the book is called Witchery. She also is the owner of November Sage. If you look on Instagram, November Sage, really, really beautiful Instagram. They also own a store in North Jersey near New York, somewhere. I would love to hold an event, and I already told them I'm going to be emailing them, so maybe I'll hold an event there. That would be really awesome. I probably shouldn't be announcing that so early, but I just did. But that is a book I'm excited to read. I love their whole vibe over at November Sage. I just love everything. I'm not even kidding you. If you look up that store, look up the store, November Sage in North Jersey. I want to live there. I just want to live there. So everything they do is really, really beautiful, and I think that that's magical. So I'm excited to read that book. Another thing that I want to share, just of my own resources that I've been connected with before I get into just a list of the OGs and all the book titles that you can read, is there is a podcast that I've been loving called Strange Magic. It is on all that I know of. It's on all platforms. I listen to it on Spotify. It's just a couple of, like, they seem like millennial females, two females. And what I really, really love is if you go to the very, very beginning, they actually do a podcast. Podcasts are only like 30 minutes long. They actually do a podcast for each of the major arcana tarots. And I just like divulged in the whole thing. I'm still listening to it. I'm probably on like, I don't know, episode 6 or 7, but I've been loving it. So check that out, Strange Magic. I also want to point out, I don't know any of these people, so I'm not like getting paid to promote any of this, just so you know. This is just what I personally like. Now the next book that I've read is Raymond Buckland's Complete Guide to Witchcraft. That is the very first book that I've ever bought. It's one that I bought on Audible. It is extremely comprehensive, and so I haven't even gotten through the whole book. It tells you every little detail about witchcraft, maybe not every, but it tells you many details about witchcraft. It gets into the nitty-gritty. I think that if you're first starting off, it is an extremely intimidating book, but I think it's a great resource for when you've kind of gotten your bearings a little bit. It's a huge book of a lot of information, but it's definitely one of the older ones. And with that, I'm going to go into a list of the OGs in witchcraft, the names that you will probably hear many witches give you, of the authors, I can't say that right, of the authors of witchcraft books. So I'm just going to go down the list in no particular order. There is Raven Grimassi, Starhawk, Silver Raven Wolf, those are some cool names, Aleister Crowley, Charles Leyland, Scott Cunningham, and there is Gerald Gardner. I feel like I'm missing 1 or 2 people, but you could start with those authors if you really want to dig deep into many more of the roots of witchcraft. That's probably a great place to start. The books that I mentioned are a little bit more on the modern side. I like to mix it up. That's just my thing. I will definitely, of course, be buying books by some of the older, the authors of older books, but I don't know. This is where I am. So you just got hit with a ton of resources. Also, Pinterest is a really great resource. I look up a ton of spells on Pinterest. There are tons of blogs out there, so that's just that. All right. So if you have any of your favorite books on the craft, please share. If I know I missed a couple of the OGs for sure. If I missed any, please let me know down in the comments below. And of course, if you want to know more resources, see if anybody's commented down below. All right, guys, I hope that that has helped you. I hope that that answered your questions. If you have any more questions about witchcraft and about what you would love me to do a video about, please ask the questions down below in the comments. I am always, there's so much more to touch on. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to witchcraft. And so it's an exciting journey for me. I'm loving doing spells. I'm probably averaging like a spell a day. I would love to do a spell a day for like 30 days or something like that. I've been thinking about doing it, but I also feel like every day for me, I'm doing spells. Every day I'm thinking about thoughts and all of that. So just thought that that was cool. Just a reminder, if you're watching this on the day that I posted it, it is a new moon. Really exciting time because I feel like this new moon is really opening up a lot of opportunities for us to get back on track. I really feel that for myself, so I hope that you feel that as well. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to connect with me outside of YouTube, head on over to my Instagram to say hello, watch behind the scenes stuff, and check out any special announcements that I might have going on. Now, if you haven't already, head over and watch one of these awesome videos and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Trace of the night.